Hey everyone, it's Amber from The Sensible Mama, here filming this video for a second time because I filmed the first one in slow motion. So this week is going to be a 5 Ways Thursday because I did not get this up on Wednesday. We're going to film, edit, and upload this all in one day because at this point, I don't know what else to do. As you guys know, if you've been around here for a while, I have a pretty busy life. I have 2 little kids, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. I am a business owner. I am still, although the more people I hire, I keep getting moved upstairs, which is like the term that means you get less and less involved in the day-to-day. I still have a lot to do for my business, and in addition to that, I have employees to manage. I have social media accounts that we're running as the business. I just have a lot going on, as does every other mom out there. Even if you're a stay-at-home mom or a work-from-home mom or whatever, we're just busy people. So one of the questions I get a lot is, how do I stay productive? How do I maximize my time? And I've done a video like this before, but I feel like I've learned a few more things since the last time I did that video. So today what I wanted to do was kind of an updated how I stay productive, how I manage my time video, because I feel like it's timely right now. Really quickly, if you're new here, my name is Amber. I'm the owner of thesensiblemama.com. We are an online baby boutique for trendy moms, and this channel is all about educate, equip, inspire, and share. So sometimes I'm here showing you packing videos or cool hacks to make your mom life easier, and other times I'm doing story times or just telling you about mom life or my life in general, showing you behind the scenes of the business and things like that. I do a segment here called 5 Ways Wednesday, which usually goes up on Wednesday, and I give you 5 sort of ways to pack a bag or 5 ways to make your life easier and whatnot. So today's 5 Ways Thursday is going to be all about making your life more productive and efficient. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, so tip number 1 is using a Pomodoro Timer. This is something that I talked about in the last video that I did on this topic, and I just still believe it is my favorite thing for making sure that I'm staying productive. There are free apps that you can download to your iPhone or your iPad or whatever you will, or you can just do it on your own without downloading an app, just by using the timer feature on your phone. But I want to break down the theory behind the Pomodoro Timer, and I'm going to show you my favorite app for doing this approach. It is a free app to download, but if you want to use some of the features that I'm going to show you today, it's $4.99 for that, and I will link the Apple Store and the Google Play Store down below for you to find the one that I'm going to show you today. But basically, a Pomodoro Timer operates under the theory that you're going to be more effective if you are breaking up your work time into meaningful chunks. So the way that this Pomodoro Timer works is it lets you set a timer for 25 minutes, and you plan during that time to have 25 minutes of complete focused activity. And I really think that is the premise of the Pomodoro Timer, is it's not just about working for a certain amount of time, it's about really focusing. So during this time, you allow yourself no distractions whatsoever. And I think that with anything, you can allot yourself 25 minutes of uninterrupted time, even as a mom with your kids around. If it means giving them a screen for a little while, or a new toy, or some paints or clay or something, giving them something to do for 25 minutes, you're worth that, and your kids are gonna be okay. So what you do with the Pomodoro Timer is you set your timer for 25 minutes, and it just times you for 25 minutes. And the goal is to work towards a project or a task or something completely undistracted for those 25 minutes. What you want to do during this time, in my opinion, is put your phone on silent. If you're wearing a watch that gets notifications, take that off and just focus. Are you going to finish your project in 25 minutes? Probably not, but that's actually the cool thing about this Pomodoro Timer. It gives you a 25-minute time span to work, and then it will immediately give you a 5-minute break. And with most of these apps, like the Pomodoro Timer that I'm going to show you in a minute, you can actually go into the settings and tell it how many times you want it to do a 25-minute work interval, and then a 5-minute break, and then a 25-minute work interval, before it gives you a long break, which is a 15-minute break. So if you're actually at work, like you don't have your kids around, you can set this up to go all day long and just manage your day in these 25-minute intervals. You're taking little short 5-minute breaks periodically in between those 25-minute time spans, and then you're also allotting yourself 15 minutes of a big break. What I like to do is every 5 times there has been a 5-minute break, I give myself a 15-minute break. And you may be saying to yourself, like, well, what if I just worked for an hour straight? Wouldn't that be more productive? And that may be, that's going to come down to personal preference. But for me, I'm the kind of person that if I don't allow myself little breaks, I will never take a break. I will forget to eat. I will forget to sit down. I will just keep going until I run myself absolutely ragged. And that does have an effect on my productivity as the day goes on. Eventually, I am mentally, physically, and emotionally drained. And I could have avoided that if I would have just taken some little breaks here and there. And I've personally found that a 5-minute break is not long enough to get me out of the headspace, if that makes sense. So sometimes if I'm sitting down, if I'm writing or I'm planning, if I take too long of a break and I step away from it, when I come back, I sort of feel like, where was I? What was I doing? What step was I on? But when I'm doing this Pomodoro Timer method, I find that the 5-minute time is just long enough for me to get up, get a glass of water, drink your water. I don't know why, but it helps me be more productive. Go to the bathroom, and when I sit back down, I'm still in that headspace, and it's great. Now, to walk you through the Pomodoro Timer that I use, and I will link it down below, it is really cool because it's just got a very, very simple, basic layout to it. But essentially, what I'm able to do here is set up my 25-minute timer and I can also set up my 5-minute breaks and my 15-minute breaks. Every single page in here has a customizable background. You can set it to have a pretty landscape or just a solid color, something that is soothing to you so that you can focus. If you have the free version of this, then it literally just works like a timer, except it will actually run through each one of these little steps. So the 25 minutes of work, then the 5 minutes of breaks, and then whenever you've reached your set number of 5-minute breaks, it will then give you a 15-minute break. But if you upgrade and get the $4.99 upgrade for the app, you get a really cool feature that I'd like to show you. So when you pay for this app, you can actually go into this section called Sounds, and as you can see here, you have got a whole bunch of different sounds that you can use. And what's really cool is that you can link each one of these sounds to your work mode, which is the 25-minute segment, or to your break modes, which I find really cool. Now, the coolest thing about this, in my opinion, is that this first option here is called mute. When you select that, it mutes your entire device. So you don't get notifications. It simply just turns all of that off. So what I like to do when I set up my 25-minute work time, I set that one to mute so that way I'm not getting a whole bunch of notifications dropping down on my tablet. I work exclusively from an iPad Pro now, and I just hate it when I'm trying to focus and I see like an email come in and I'm immediately distracted and I want to go address that. When I set this to mute, I can actually just ignore all of those things and just focus. However, sometimes if I'm doing something that's not totally work related, let's say I'm like cleaning my kitchen or folding laundry or something, I want maybe some kind of sounds to be happening. So there's just a whole bunch of different types of white noise style sounds here. I'm going to show you some of my favorite ones. Now, I am what's called an outgoing introvert, so I love people, but I'm also pretty introverted, and my battery gets drained through social interactions. So like if I'm out in a really large crowd and everyone is wanting to speak to me, or there's too many people trying to engage with me, I can get pretty stressed out and overwhelmed. And that is the introvert side of me. But the outgoing side of me loves being around people and loves hearing people noises. I just don't necessarily want all of the people noises directed at me. So I love going to work at a coffee shop because I can hear the clanking of utensils and I can hear conversations happening, but I'm not actually having to participate in those conversations. I just love the sound of life happening. And right now, because we're still pretty hunkered down in our household, I'm not spending a lot of time in coffee shops. So one of my favorite ones is Talking at Cafe. This one is really cool because I get that sensation of being in a Starbucks or my favorite local coffee shop, and I can hear that while I'm working. But there's other really cool ones here. There's tree frogs, kettle boiling, which you would think would be distracting, but it's actually really nice. Rain, waves, a fireplace crackling, just all kinds of different sounds. And so what I like to do is pick one that I find really relaxing to play while I'm having my break, and then I pick either mute or usually it's going to be Talking at a Cafe while I'm working. There are also features here where you can track your statistics of how many of your 25-minute intervals That is a combination of increments and intervals. You're welcome for your new word. 25-minute intervals you actually completed during the day, and just kind of track your progress, which I think is really cool. And inside of the settings, you're able to set up the background that you want, set up how many of those breaks you want to have in between, going from your 5-minute breaks to your 15-minute break. You can even set up some pretty cool Siri shortcuts in here so that you can actually just tell Siri what to do with turning this app on and off. So all around, it's just a really, really cool feature to have, but more important than the feature itself here on the iPad or on your phone, it's really the premise behind it. Taking 25 minutes of concentrated time to work on a task or project and then giving yourself little breaks. The next one is pretty obvious, but it is have a planner. I go through phases where I don't plan, and I find that my life gets really, really chaotic when I'm not actively planning. And I think that this is different than just doing a to-do list. I think planning is actually sitting down, budgeting out your time, breaking up your work into meaningful blocks of time, and really making sure that you are adhering to those blocks of time. For me, I just need that. I need to have a schedule. And it's hard when you're a mom, especially because you just feel like, how do I schedule things when I have all of the chaos and sort of like quickly changing atmosphere regarding children? But I have found that even like on the days when I'm working from home or when I'm not working, I'm just at home because it's Saturday, I can generally follow a plan with my kids, even if it's something as simple as we have quiet time at 2 o'clock. So I've always done paper planning, but I have actually started gearing myself more toward digital planning. This iPad made me gag when I bought it. It was much more expensive than what I wanted to spend. And so I decided if I'm gonna spend my money on this, if I'm gonna get rid of my old computer and do all my work exclusively on this iPad Pro, I'm gonna put everything on here. I'm gonna stop spending money on planners. I'm gonna do it all digitally. And I have been really, really happy with this, particularly because if I'm gonna write something down, I need to be able to erase it if things have changed. I want to be able to, like, I don't know, if I didn't like how my handwriting looked, I'm sorry, it's important to me that it looks pretty. And it's very upsetting to me when I'm paper planning and I write something in and it looks bad and then I just feel like I have to either live with it or scratch it out. It just is bothersome to me. So I have been doing all of my planning digitally and I've just absolutely been loving it. I'm gonna really quickly just show you what I've been doing in terms of digital planning on my iPad. And I feel like this video is getting really iPad centric. This is not sponsored or affiliated in any way with Apple. I just happen to really love their products. So I went to an Etsy shop, which I will link down below, and I purchased her Create More digital planner. And I got this because I felt like it just really had a lot of the things that I look for in a planner. It started in the month of July, which was really great since it's June right now, and it goes all the way through 2021. And so some of the features that I really liked about it was that it has a full planner for the next 2 years. Every month has clickable hyperlinks in it so that I can jump around in my planner. I can get to my notes and lists really easily. There's these really cool little pages of like weekly focus and things like that where I can write down what I'm focusing on this week just to really help me stay focused and on task, which can be hard for me. It has a bunch of blank pages in it, so I was able to create my own meal plan sheet, which I'll show you here. I also have my YouTube planning sheet in here, and I was doing all of these things in 2 separate planners. I had like a spiral bound planner, and I also had a traveler's notebook, and I was just having a hard time keeping everything organized, and organizing my planner had started taking up like so much time that I wasn't able to get done the things that I was trying to keep track of in my planner. Does that make sense? And although I really enjoyed the time of my life where I was doing the really elaborate decorative paper planning, you might have seen some of those videos here on my channel where I did Plan With Me. I do not have time for that anymore. So I'm all about being functional and efficient and still making it look pretty, but probably not putting in all the time with the washi and the stickers and all that stuff. So I have found this just truly, truly helpful for me. Again, I will link this planner down below. But what I use is an app called GoodNotes. Some people prefer one called Noteworthy. I'll go ahead and link them both down in the description. But within GoodNotes, you can actually create notebooks, you can create files, so you can create a file structure here. You can see I've created a prayer journal in here so that way I can keep track of all of my prayers. And probably my favorite thing about using GoodNotes for hosting my digital planner and also keeping all my other handwritten notes is that it is fully searchable even with your handwriting. So you will need an Apple Pen or a knockoff. You can usually find them on Amazon to use GoodNotes. But what is so cool is that, let's say that I want to look up how many times I've prayed for Charlie, my husband, and remind myself of the things I'm praying for him. I can go in here and I can search his name, and it will actually pull up every single one of my handwritten notes about Charlie, which is so cool. And when it comes to paper planning in general, one of the things that I find is sometimes I jot something down in my notebook. In my case, maybe it's like I have this order that I need to be tracking with my vendor. And a week goes by and that order has still not shown up and I need to reach out to that vendor, but now I can't remember what I had jotted down about what I needed to discuss with them about that order. When I'm paper planning, I have to sit there and I have to start finger licking and making my way through the sheets, trying to just search for wherever I had written down this note to myself. But in GoodNotes, when you're using the Apple Pen, you can actually search that. So if I know the vendor name at least, I just don't know what it was I needed to have done, I can search that in my handwritten notes and it will come right up, which to me is amazing. It is such a big time saver. So point number 2 is most definitely start planning. Start with just a to-do list on paper and then grow from there. Try paper planning, try digital planning, whatever works best for you, but just try, because as they say, failing to plan is planning to fail. Tip number 3, and this is one that has really helped me in just my family domestic life, is to plan on 2 meals a week that are always the same every single week. In my household, Monday is Meatloaf Monday and Tuesday is Taco Tuesday, and for me, it just makes life so much easier. I can go ahead and purchase Meatloaf Monday and Taco Tuesday for the whole month at the beginning of the month and just have that all ready to go, so that for the next 4 weeks, I don't have to really plan a meal for Monday and Tuesday. I have it all there, don't even have to think about it. And I've just found that there's been a whole lot of benefits to that. My family personally just kind of enjoys knowing that, having that structure of I know what's to eat on Monday and Tuesday. I have found that for me, doing it on Monday and Tuesday is really helpful because we're coming off of the weekend. I'm a little bit stressed out. Maybe I haven't had time yet to sit down and sit with my planner and meal plan for the week. So I like knowing that Monday, I have Monday and Tuesday, all of that time to sit down and try to get the plan for the meals for the week done. And I already have Monday and Tuesday taken care of. So for the rest of the week, I can do all the fun, creative meals that I want to do. I can order out if I need to, whatever. I still get a chance to do interesting and a whole variety of meals for my family. But Monday and Tuesday are 2 days a week where we know what we're going to eat. The mental load of having to plan meals for those 2 days is off of me. I'm not spending as much time thinking about groceries, and I'm then freed up to do other things. And I think importantly, these 2 meals that you choose to do every single week, make it something that everyone enjoys, that there's not someone in your family who refuses to eat it, and make it something that's really easy to make. So on Monday and Tuesday, these 2 meals are so easy for me that it's almost just like on autopilot. I can just get it done so fast and focus on other things that need my attention. Tip number 4 is do the things you hate first. And I know the procrastinator in all of us just cringes when we say that, but I'm telling you, this is the way that I am learning that I'm able to be the most efficient. If I follow my instinct, which is to just avoid anything that I don't enjoy doing or that I know is going to be a task that I despise, I will spend the entire day looking for ways to not have to go do that task. So for me, if I'm at home, that includes folding laundry and unloading the dishwasher. I despise these 2 tasks. If I will get up in the morning and I will do them first, I can at least have them done, and then I can spend the rest of my day doing just productive things that don't drain my soul as much as those 2 things. It's off my plate, it's off my to-do list, and I can just move on to something else. But if I wait, what I end up doing is I will get everything else on my to-do list done, and then I'm staring there at these 2 tasks that I despise, and I find myself kind of subconsciously just discovering other things to do instead of that. And I'm going to give you an example from my husband because we just had this conversation this week. He's got a big project for work and he hates part of what he has to do for it. It's just roadblocky, it's complicated, and it stresses him out. So the other day, he had a big window of time to really work on this and get it knocked out once and for all. And what he did instead was he went downstairs and he found, like, my daughter has this little play kit from Walmart, which is just a grocery basket filled with these little cardboard boxes of miniature foodstuffs. So like cereal and rice and things like that. And they're cardboard and they're cheap, so they just crush really easily. Charlie sat down for at least an hour and taped back together every single one of those and like reinforced it. And you know, it's wonderful. It was such a sweet, loving thing for him to do for my daughter. But when I came downstairs and saw him doing that, I was like, so did you finish your project for work? And he said, no, but I just felt so bad for Abby that all of these were crushed. And I felt like it was really important that I take care of this right now. I was like, you know, that is an example of finding something that is a worthy cause, but something that did not need to be done today. And he did that instead of doing the thing that actually needed to get done because he dreaded that so badly. So what I try to do in my own life is like, if there's something that I really, really dread doing, I'm just going to grit my teeth and I'm going to do it so that way I can just get to my other things. And hopefully I can end my day doing a task that I actually enjoy, because nothing drains me worse or puts me in more of a bad mood right before bed than saving that task that I've already put in the mental burden of avoiding all day long and then having to go do it as my last thing before I go to bed. Don't do that. Just get it done first thing. And the last tip, which is sort of related, is identify the 2 hours of your day where you are the most productive and concentrate your efforts there. For me personally, I am the most productive in the morning, and generally so before my kids wake up. So I make a plan before I go to bed. I have a list already drawn up of when I wake up in the morning, here are the first things that I'm going to tackle before my kids get up. And yes, I get up several hours before my kids. They get up at 6:30, so a lot of mornings I am up at 4 a.m. I'm not suggesting that everyone needs to do that, but I am a morning person, and so for me, getting up and using those 2 hours of work time is perfect for me. I've learned that as the day goes on, I go so hard in the morning that by the end of the day, I'm mentally and emotionally drained, and my productivity takes a hit because of that. So whether you are a morning person or an evening person, maybe you tend to be the most productive like right after you eat lunch, I don't know. But plan your biggest and most important tasks for during that time, because and I feel like that just sounds so obvious, but someone needed to tell me that, because I would find that my most productive hours, I would get to them and then I didn't really have a good plan. I would just start working on whatever was kind of closest to me, and sometimes the things that really could have been better spent during those really productive hours of my day got pushed off to the side. So just recognizing your own tempo, recognizing when you are the most alert, the most awake, the most focused, and concentrate the majority of your efforts on the most important tasks during those times in your day. So guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you found it helpful. If you have any tips for how you stay more productive, leave them down in the comments. I've noticed that on some of my videos, there is starting to be conversation and dialogue between you guys, which is really cool. So I think that people are reading the comments looking for more suggestions and feedback. So leave your suggestions as well, because I'm not the only one with ideas here. So go ahead and leave your ideas down in the comments. Love ya, mean it always, mwah! And I'll see you in the next one.